Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video I'm going to go through how I made my new doll Ravnur the White Raven. It's a brand new raven sculpt, so it's the first one from this new sculpt, and it will be available in my shop on my website creaturesofnat.com. And if you haven't seen how I sculpted this head, you can check out the video of me sculpting it. It's on my channel. I'll try and remember to link it down below, but I go through the whole sculpting process of making the head. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, so I made this particular sculpt to be able to include some glass eyes in the casting process. So if you want to know how I cast glass eyes, I have a tutorial on my website in my shop at creaturesofnat.com. So what I'm doing now is I'm just using those glass eyes that I use for my eyes, and I'm painting it up in a nice magenta and red mix of acrylic paints. So I'll let that dry. I'll then cast my head in resin, so it ends up looking like this. Once it's ready to go, I'll then apply a base coat of some paint. I usually use a paint from Dervian Matisse, and it's like a background paint that you use for canvases, but I find that it has a really nice tooth on it, and it sticks to the resin really well. So you do need some sort of primer before painting any resin pieces, because resin can be quite slippery and anything you paint on it is easily sort of scuffed off. So yeah, I'm trying to make a primer video of which ones that I've tried before and which ones I like, so I'll have that up in the next couple of weeks as well. So what I'm doing, as this doll is mostly white, so I'm just going to use this primer to cover the entire head, and then I'm going to add some pink little accents. So I didn't really want it to be an albino raven per se. I just wanted it to sort of be a white raven, so yeah, it just turned out looking like an albino one. And I want to do also a black one, obviously, in the future as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed making this sculpt and doing something completely different, and just not actually doing a standard black raven to start off with as well. So the acrylic paint that I'm using is also by Dervian Matisse, and it's just in like a pink, I forgot what it's called, colour, and I'm sort of mixing it up with the white, so it makes it more of a baby pink, and sort of blending it into the rest of the head. I didn't want too much colour to be on it because I didn't want the pink to be too overwhelming, so yeah, just a really light brush of some of that pink colouring. Moving on to the feet, and I'm using the same feet that I used for my Phoenix dolls. I tried something else out, but I wasn't really happy with the way it turned out. So if you're interested in a video of how I made these other feet, it's like a latex feet. Let me know in the comments and I'll tell you why I didn't like it. I could make a video on that. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you're interested in something like that. So just doing the same sort of painting process where I'm painting that priming white paint on it, and then going over and adding some of that pink paint to it as well, just to give it a little bit of colour and a little bit more to bring out that texture. Right, so as with all of the dolls that I make, it has a little backstory. So here is Ravnur's the White Raven's backstory. Unlike a normal black-coloured raven, the red-eyed raven is a solid white bird with haunting pupilless red eyes. The red-eyed raven is a feared creature throughout the lands. Legend says the red-eyed raven is a servant of the death god and will appear when one's time is up. Whoever sees this raven will die. These ravens can appear anywhere from a week to a few hours before someone's death, often prompting panic. The red-eyed raven is found throughout the entire lands. It only appears when the death god has requested a life and then retreats back into the Darklands. So a bit more of a darker backstory to these particular birds. I wanted to do something completely different because sometimes I end up falling into like the cutesiness of, you know, innocent little creatures. So something a bit more dark this time, because sometimes the world is dark. Right, now moving on to the claws, and I want the claws to sort of be like a really light yellowy sort of off-coloured colour. So I'm just mixing up a wash of some, I don't know what it's called, it's like like an off sort of yellow, like a brownie yellow, and mixing it up with water and just painting it over the claws itself, so you can see how light the wash is, so not too much colour. And I can always go back and add a little bit more colour if I'm not happy with it. So if you're not sure, just add a little bit and you can always go back. It's easier to add than take away colour. And just a little commission update, I probably will be taking less commissions this year just because it can get a bit too overwhelming. So I need to sort of focus on my own sort of art and what I want to create, because you can get yourself into a sort of rut. So this year I sort of want to focus on doing a whole like variety of different arts, not just dolls. So, you know, things from illustrations, digital work, sticker sets, paintings, actual sculptures, and just some other things, just exploring and stuff. So if you have anything that you want me to sort of focus on, or if you're interested in seeing me make, let me know in the comments, and I'll see what I can make. Alright, once it's all painted up, I'm going to leave all these things to dry and I'll focus on the body. So for the body, I'm using this long piled faux fur, and it's got like kind of like an undercoat and a longer fur at the end. So I don't actually have much of this fur left, but I can get it's pretty easy to find. But I thought it would work really well for a raven because it kind of has like a feathery sort of texture. So what I've done is I have drawn out my patterns for the bodies, and I'm going to cut it out. So this particular pattern only has 2 parts to it, and I'm going to use a small pair of sharp scissors to cut the pieces out. And I prefer using small scissors just because it's easier to control, and you can get in between the pile of the fur and there's less risk of cutting it and stuff like that. So once I've cut all the parts out, I just give it a little bit of a clean by taking all of the fur off the ends of the pile, and then I'll pin it first side together and I will sew it up on a sewing machine. I like to use the sewing machine because I find it a lot quicker and it makes the body a lot stronger, so when you're posing there's sort of less risk of the seams breaking apart, I guess. Not that I've ever had that happen, but you will need to do some hand sewing anyway. So what I've done is I've left the back end open so I can flip it the right way around, and then I'm going to go ahead and insert the wire armature. And if you want to know how I make my wire armatures, I also have that tutorial in my shop on my website, and it has another part where you attach the resin pieces together as well, so that's also available there. So I'm going to go make the wire armature and do all that and attach all the pieces, and then I'll come back and, like magic, it's all done! So here's what we have once I have put all the pieces together. So I glued the fur to the resin head, and I'm going to go make the wings and add some fur on the face, and then I'll come back with the rest of the doll. So the reason why I don't include the wing making in this video is I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with that, whether I'm going to make a paid tutorial for it or not. I just want to perfect it a bit more and see where it takes me and see how it evolves and stuff before I do anything else with it. But you can see the posability that the wire armature gives you. Alright, so here is the final version of my new raven sculpt. This is the first one. I added a little bit of fur on that beak texture just to give it that bit more realism. So I'm really happy with the way it turned out. He does stand on 2 legs, and with some certain propping and stuff, you can get the balance just right. It's always difficult to balance things on 2 legs, but he does! So like I said before, it is available in my shop at creaturesofnat.com if it already hasn't been adopted. And that is it from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any video requests, you can leave it in the comments down below. You can also check me out on Instagram and Facebook at creaturesofnat, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!